So we've talked about faith grounded in intuitions. We have this element of Buddhahood that resonates with this ideal. We gravitated towards that. Take one step further, and that is faith grounded in reason, sensible evidence. And that is through the description of his qualities, his compassion, his wisdom, that we can reasonably conclude that the Buddha has achieved something great. But still, that is not enough. We need to take one step further to validate that faith, and that is faith grounded in experience. We can't just take other people's word for it. The sutras that we read, those sutras belong to somebody's. So we're reading their thoughts, their aspiration, but those things are not our own. Therefore, we have to base it on experience to validate the teachings, to validate the claims that the Buddha is an enlightened being. And we confirm that by faith grounded in experience. We may have not achieved enlightenment, but through our practice and following directions in the sutras, our own experience will tell us that we are not on the wrong path. Right? We will have that experience when we sit and meditate. In the sutra, it says, when you practice samatha, you will have this meditative joy. So we sit in meditation, we're able to collect our thoughts, and we know that we have reduced our anxiety, our fear, false and wandering thoughts. So we know that it has some effect. And then when we study the law of conditionality, we begin to see reasons why things happen, and we understand life a little bit more, and we can handle and resolve problems more effectively. Now we can say, yes, it's working. And so through our experience, we can validate the teachings of the Buddhas, and not just to follow somebody's aspiration. The practice of the Buddha's teaching and our attainment, our progress, will help to reinforce that understanding of the Dhamma, the faith in the Dhamma. So having practiced his teaching, we can resolve our doubt. Our faith becomes more and more firmly fixed. With our own attainment and enlightenment, it becomes unshakable. So it's through validation that our faith becomes unshakable. When somebody has told you something, you can understand it, but you cannot say that it's yours because you just borrowed it from somebody. But until you put it into practice and you validate it, and now it becomes unshakable, then you can claim that your understanding belongs to you. In the sutras, there was an illustration where the Buddha says that faith in the Tathagatas, meaning the Buddha, settled, rooted, fixed, and strong, not to be pulled up by anyone in the world, including Devas or Maras or Brahma. Not uprooted by Deva or Mara means that a person is not full. His faith cannot be uprooted by worldly desires or heavenly joy. He doesn't get stuck there, but he continues to progress towards enlightenment. His confidence in achieving enlightenment is fixed and strong. And in order for us to overcome our obstacles, we need to have strong faith. And the only way to do that, we first have to resonate with the ideal. And the second is that we use sensible evidence based on the records of his life and teachings to confirm that. And we validate it through our own experience. The Buddha says that when a person's faith is deeply rooted, should he come to die, pass on from this world, there is no feather to hold him back, and he will not come back to this world. It doesn't mean that you go to somewhere to escape. To be liberated from the circle of life and death is not just to stop being reborn, but really to have no fear of death. You continue to reborn for the sake of others. You may go to heaven and live there, whatever, but there is no fear. Whether you live in heaven or you live on earth, whether you're dealing with people or you're being seclusive on your own, there is no fear. There is no egoistic drive to have something. And living without fear is a wonderful experience. For example, this florist, Sumana, he felt a strong desire to offer his flowers to the Buddha. He was on his way to offer the flowers to the king, but when he saw the Buddha, he decided to give the flowers to the Buddha instead. And he said that even if the king were to drive me out of the country or to kill me, I would not offer the flowers to the king that day. He saw the Buddha, he was overwhelmed with joy and he has realized the truth. He was entering the stream of sagehood that he had overcome his fear. He was not even fearful of death. Even if the king was to kill him or to drive him out of the country, he would not be fearful of being robbed by thieves or killed by wild animals. He had no fear whatsoever. When we live a life without fear, it is meaningful. We can do things that will resonate with the higher meaning. So faith is very important. Faith is an acknowledgement of the fact that the Gautama is the Buddha, the enlightened one. This acknowledgement of the Buddha's enlightenment is not just an intellectual conviction, but it is also an emotional impulsion. Faith in Buddhism is not dry and academic rationalism. That's just one extreme. The other extreme we should avoid is that it's purely emotional, but it's a balanced combination of intellectual and emotional elements.